When life presents its challenges and obstacles, it can feel like the world is crumbling around us. It is in these moments that we are tested, not only by our circumstances, but by our faith. The true strength of a believer lies in their unwavering trust in Allah Almighty. This trust is not simply a passive belief, but an active commitment to surrendering our worries and burdens to Him, knowing that He has control over everything in our lives. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, the first cousin of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, and his loyal son-in-law, is the embodiment of this trust. Throughout his life, he demonstrated an unshakable faith in Allah Almighty's wisdom and power, even in the face of tremendous hardship and adversity. His words, actions, and sacrifices serve as an inspiration for Muslims around the world, reminding us that trust in Allah Almighty is the key to overcoming life's trials. In times of trial, it can feel like we are standing alone with no one to rely on. But this feeling of isolation is merely an illusion. Allah Almighty is always with us, guiding us, comforting us, and supporting us in ways we cannot even begin to comprehend. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, once said, "He who is Allah Almighty has everything, and he who is without Allah Almighty has nothing." These words remind us that no matter how dire the situation may seem, as long as we place our trust in Allah Almighty, we are never truly alone. Dua, or supplication, is a powerful tool in strengthening our connection with Allah Almighty and reinforcing our trust in Him. It is through sincere prayer that we express our deepest desires, hopes, and fears to Allah Almighty. But more importantly, it is through dua that we acknowledge our dependence on Him and submit ourselves to His will. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, often turned to dua in his moments of despair, seeking comfort and guidance from Allah Almighty. His prayers were not merely words. They were expressions of a heart fully devoted to the Creator. When faced with difficult decisions, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, would spend long hours in prayer, asking Allah Almighty for guidance and wisdom. His trust in Allah's plan was unwavering, and his supplications were a reflection of his complete surrender to His will. For us, dua is not just a means of asking for things. It is a way to strengthen our relationship with Allah Almighty. When we turn to Him in prayer, we are reminded that He is always there to listen, to guide, and to answer. Even if the answer is delayed or different from what we expected, we trust that Allah Almighty knows what is best for us. His wisdom far surpasses our limited understanding, and His plan for us is always better than any plan we could have devised for ourselves. Patience, or sabr, is an essential quality that Allah Almighty values in His believers. It is easy to have faith when things are going well, but true trust in Allah Almighty is tested during times of hardship. Whether it is the loss of a loved one, financial difficulties, or personal struggles, it is in these moments that our patience and trust in Allah Almighty are most important. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, faced numerous challenges during his life, from battles to personal losses, yet he never wavered in his trust in Allah Almighty. He understood that hardship is a part of life and that Allah Almighty tests His servants to strengthen them. He once said, "Patience is of two kinds, patience over what pains you, and patience over what you lack." These words remind us that patience is not just about enduring suffering, but also about maintaining hope and trust when we are deprived of something we desire. When we face trials, it is important to remember that Allah Almighty never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. Our hardships are a means of purification, a chance to grow stronger in our faith and trust in Allah's plan. By remaining patient and trusting in Him, we open ourselves up to His mercy and blessings. Tawakkul, or complete reliance on Allah Almighty, is a fundamental aspect of trusting Him. It is not enough to simply believe in Allah Almighty. We must also put our full trust in His ability to guide us and protect us. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, was the epitome of tawakkul, always relying on Allah's wisdom in every aspect of his life. He never took any step without first seeking guidance from Allah Almighty through through prayer and supplication. Tawakkul is not about being passive or waiting for things to happen on their own. It is about actively doing our part while trusting that Allah Almighty will take care of the rest. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, once said, "Tie your camel first, and then put your trust in Allah." This statement emphasizes the importance of taking the necessary actions while trusting that Allah Almighty will handle the outcome. Our reliance on Him should not be an excuse for inaction, but rather a source of strength and confidence as we work towards our goals. One of the most powerful examples of Imam Ali's, alayhi salam, trust in Allah Almighty can be found in the story of the Battle of Karbala. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, was known for his unmatched bravery in battle, and his role in the conquest of Karbala is legendary. The Muslim forces faced a formidable enemy in the Jewish fortress of Karbala, and after days of siege, it seemed that victory was out of reach. Despite the overwhelming odds, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, never lost faith in Allah Almighty's plan. When the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, entrusted him with the task of leading the final assault on Karbala, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, did not hesitate. He rode into battle with full confidence, knowing that his victory or defeat was in Allah Almighty's hands. His trust was so deep that even in the face of danger, he remained calm and unwavering. With Allah Almighty's help, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, broke through the enemy's defenses, leading the Muslim forces to victory. This story serves as a powerful reminder that when we place our trust in Allah Almighty, He will guide us to success, no matter the challenges we face. One of the most profound aspects of trust in Allah Almighty is the peace that it brings to the heart of the believer. In a world filled with uncertainty and chaos, placing our trust in Allah Almighty allows us to let go of the anxiety and stress that often accompany life's challenges. Trusting in His wisdom and guidance is not about having all the answers or knowing the future. It is about surrendering to His plan with complete faith and confidence. It is this inner peace that comes with true trust in Allah Almighty that helps us navigate the storms of life. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, was a beacon of tranquility during times of great hardship. His entire life was a testament to his profound trust in Allah Almighty. Whether he was leading the Muslim community through battles or facing personal trials, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, never wavered in his trust in Allah's divine wisdom. His life reminds us that peace comes not from the absence of problems, but from the presence of Allah Almighty in our hearts. He understood that no matter how difficult the situation, Allah Almighty's plan is always for the best. In times of distress, when it feels as if the weight of the world is on our shoulders, the one thing that can bring solace to our hearts is the remembrance of Allah Almighty. It is through the remembrance of Allah Almighty, Dhikr, that we reconnect with our Creator and draw closer to Him. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, often reminded his followers of the power of Dhikr, emphasizing that it is through remembrance of Allah Almighty that our hearts find peace and our minds find clarity. Patience, or sabr, is another essential aspect of trusting in Allah Almighty. It is easy to trust in Allah Almighty when everything is going smoothly, but the true test of our faith comes during times of hardship. It is during these difficult moments that we are called upon to exercise patience and remain steadfast in our trust that Allah Almighty has a purpose for everything. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, once said, "Patience is of two kinds, patience over what pains you and patience over what you lack." These words speak to the two types of patience that a believer must cultivate: patience in the face of suffering and patience in the absence of what one desires. Both forms of patience require a deep trust in Allah Almighty's plan, and both require us to maintain our faith even when we do not fully understand the reason behind our trials. In Islam, we are taught that Allah Almighty never burdens a soul beyond their. This verse from the Quran, 2:286, reminds us that whatever challenges we face, we have the strength within us to overcome them. But we must also recognize that Allah Almighty's timing is perfect. His wisdom far surpasses our own understanding, and His plan for us is always for our best, even if it doesn't align with our own desires. Patience allows us to develop a deeper connection with Allah Almighty, for it is through enduring hardship with grace and trust that we demonstrate our reliance on Him. The Quran tells us, "And be patient, for indeed, Allah Almighty is with the patient." Quran 8:46. In these moments, when we feel overwhelmed, remembering that Allah Almighty is with us can provide the strength we need to persevere. Gratitude is another important aspect of trusting Allah Almighty. When we place our trust in Him, we're not only acknowledging His power, but also expressing our gratitude for His countless blessings. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, often reminded his followers to be grateful for Allah Almighty's gifts, both big and small. He said, "He who does not thank people has not thanked Allah Almighty." This teaching highlights the importance of gratitude in all aspects of life, not just for the blessings we receive directly from Allah Almighty, but also for the kindness and support we receive from others. Gratitude is a reflection of our trust in Allah Almighty's provision. When we are grateful for what we have, we are acknowledging that everything, both the good and the bad, come from Allah Almighty. Even in times of difficulty, expressing gratitude helps us remain grounded in our trust. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, reminding us that we are never truly alone and that Allah Almighty's mercy is always present. One of the greatest ways to express gratitude to Allah Almighty is through acts of worship. Prayers, charity, and acts of kindness are all ways in which we can thank Allah Almighty for His blessings. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, said, "The best way to thank Allah Almighty is to use His blessings in ways that are pleasing to Him. By using the gifts Allah Almighty has bestowed upon us in a way that aligns with His will, we demonstrate our trust and gratitude." Dua, or supplication, is an essential aspect of trusting Allah Almighty. It is through dua that we communicate our needs, desires, and hopes to Allah Almighty. While it may seem as though we are asking for things, the act of making dua is in itself a form of surrender and trust. When we ask Allah Almighty for help, we are acknowledging that only He has the power to grant us what we need. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, was a master of dua, and his supplications were filled with profound wisdom and trust in Allah Almighty's power. His prayers were not just about asking for personal gain, but were filled with deep expressions of gratitude, praise, and submission to Allah Almighty. His duas serve as a guide for Muslims, showing us the importance of turning to Allah Almighty in all circumstances and placing our full trust in His ability to answer our prayers. It is important to note that while dua is a powerful tool, it is not merely about asking for material gains or personal success. Dua is a means of strengthening our relationship with Allah Almighty, seeking His mercy, and aligning ourselves with His divine will. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, once said, "Dua is the weapon of the believer, the pillar of religion, and the light of the heavens and the earth." This statement emphasizes the importance of dua not only as a tool for seeking help, but also as a means of building a deeper connection with Allah Almighty. Life is full of uncertainties, and it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenges we face. Whether it is dealing with personal loss, financial difficulties, or health problems, the weight of life's trials can sometimes feel unbearable. However, it is in these moments that our trust in Allah Almighty becomes our greatest strength. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, faced many trials throughout his life, yet he never allowed his circumstances to shake his trust in Allah Almighty. Whether he was leading battles, guiding the Muslim community, or facing personal hardships, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, always relied on Allah Almighty for strength and guidance. His life is a shining example of how trust in Allah Almighty can help us overcome even the most difficult challenges. When we face difficulties, it is important to remember that Allah Almighty is the ultimate source of strength. As the Quran reminds us, "Indeed, with hardship comes ease." Quran 94:6. Allah Almighty promises that every difficulty is followed by ease, and that His mercy and wisdom will always guide us through the hardest times. By trusting in Allah Almighty and relying on His plan, we can find the strength to face any challenge that comes our way. In conclusion, trust in Allah Almighty is the foundation of a believer's faith. It is through trust that we are able to endure life's trials, find peace in times of hardship, and remain hopeful for the future. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, is the perfect example of this trust, having placed his complete reliance on Allah Almighty throughout his life. As we navigate our own challenges, let us remember that Allah Almighty is always with us, guiding us and providing for us in ways we may not immediately understand. We must continue to trust in His wisdom, rely on His mercy, and seek His guidance through dua and patience. With Allah Almighty by our side, there is no obstacle too great to overcome and no trial too difficult to bear.